The next component is your work experience and volunteer experience. As always, you decide what should go first based on what experience is most relevant to the job you are applying for. For example, if you are applying for work at a day camp for the first time, but your work experience is in retail and your volunteer experience has been working with children at the local Y, then list your volunteer experience before your work experience. As you write about the jobs and skills, consider your wording. You want to stand out from the crowd. Do these statements make you stand out? Performed all cashier and point of sale duties. Wrote report. Assisted manager in coordinating social event. They are very bland and generic. The trick is to list the essentials so they stand out from other resumes. What do these statements say about the applicant? The applicant's experience. Aim to list not just the skill or task, but also the result. So in each statement about your skills developed in each job, you want to include skill plus task plus result. So if we look at that first example up there, for example, performed all cashier and point of sale duties to ensure efficient and effective customer transactions. Sounds much better than performed all cashier duties. Instead of wrote report, try collaborated with 4 classmates to write report on new reforms in Canadian justice system, receiving final grade of 80% or A- on both peer-evaluated teamwork and final report. This shows that you can work well in a team and that you achieved good grades and that you know something about the Canadian justice system. In this last revision, coordinating social event with assistant manager targeting over 40 local youth to support community engagement and leadership development. The reader now knows the size of the event and what it was for. The way it was originally written, it could have been a birthday party rather than a large-scale community event. So this is a place where you're going to have to work to find the balance between including the details while being succinct and to the point. Since these are not complete sentences, it is possible to remove extra words. Just be careful that it still all makes sense and emphasizes what is important. Now, in terms of layout, there's many different styles that you could choose. And this is just one very basic style that they've chosen to use. Avoid using Microsoft templates because everybody uses them. You want to make something that looks a little bit more unique. Whatever style you choose, make sure it's readable and contains the required information. So you need to include position name, the company name, the location, and the dates of employment. For the dates of employment, you can simply include the years of employment, unless it was less than a full year, as for a summer job. In that case, you can put the months in the year, or summer 2010, or something like that. In this example, work and volunteer experience are listed separately. So you can see work experience is at the top, and then down below is some volunteer experience. Sometimes these are listed together under the heading of related experience, and then you can have a separate heading saying other experience. Make sure that you indicate in your blurb, so the stuff that describes what you did at the position, whether it was a volunteer position or not. Following the work and volunteer experience, you can include some specifics about relevant skills such as computer skills, certifications, and awards. The final heading, interests, is optional. Include it if it makes you look good for that job. For example, if you're applying for that day camp job, then music and sports will be relevant for working with kids. Interests can also show that you are a well-rounded person. If, however, your interests are not relevant or may be interpreted as a negative activity, I'm not sure what that might be. I don't know, maybe collecting guns or playing Dungeons & Dragons or a hardcore video game if you're addicted to that, then clearly you should leave such activities off your resume. Your resume and your cover letter are intended to sell you enough to get an interview, and then you use the interview to get the job. Like your resume, your cover letter is intended to help you get your foot in the door with an interview. The cover letter is specifically written for the particular job you are applying for. The letter is tailored even more than the resume. Your cover letter targets your resume for a specific position in a specific company. While your resume may be up to 2 pages long, your cover letter should only be 1 page. Here is an example of a cover letter from the UOIT website. Create a letterhead for yourself that you can use for all the letters that you write. It's a nice thing to do, and you can personalize it a little bit. Make sure it's always readable, of course. While you don't want the letterhead to take up too much room, you do want to make it stand out. Now, this letter uses a full block format. And remember, for more information on writing letters, see the videos on professional writing formats. After the letterhead is the date, followed by the recipient's name and address. You can see that all over here, aligned to the left. Next, you have your salutation. So if you know the name of the person the resume and letter should go to, then you use it. However, make sure you know the correct form of address to use, Mr., Ms., Doctor, or the like. Avoid using Miss or Mrs. unless you are certain that the recipient prefers one of those. If you're not sure if the person is a man or a woman, then use the simplified style of letter. This allows you to use an attention line and subject line instead. With an attention line, you can simply write the first and surname without Mr. or Ms. If the job ad does not specify a person to send the application to, then you'll have to do some research first. Always make sure you are sending it to the right person. I've had the experience of receiving letters of applications from people who should have sent them to someone else. And I believe those people did so because I posted a job ad on a listserv and the applicant did not read the directions correctly. So the letter went to me rather than the correct person. I have also received applications in which it was clear that the person had no idea what type of job they were applying for. Needless to say, those people didn't get a job. Now, in terms of structure, the body of your letter should be about 3 or 4 paragraphs long. Okay, and they should be short paragraphs. Remember that the letter should only be 1 page in length in total. Make sure you do not bury the important information in the middle of the paragraph. Be clear, concise, and specific. In the first paragraph, you outline your purpose. Why are you writing this letter? What position are you applying for? You can also state the position in the subject line if you're using the simplified letter format. This first paragraph should also say how you heard about the position, such as where it was advertised or posted and why you are applying for this job or to this company. Be concrete and specific. In paragraph 2, explain why you should be considered for the position. Be specific about your skills and relevant work experience. Be sure to tie your answers back to the core competencies, skills, experiences, and so on required for the position. In paragraph 3, you can explain what transferable skills or soft skills you have. These are things like interpersonal skills, the ability to work well in a team, the ability to manage your time well, and so on. Transferable skills are important for any job in any field. Try to show the value you will bring to the company and try to make the cover letter more personal so that the employer can get to know you as a person, not just as an employee. In paragraph 4, thank the employer for considering your application. Ask politely for an interview or tell the employer that you will follow up with them within a certain time period. Of course, you never tell the employer that you will arrive at a certain time or demand an interview, and yes, people have done that. Don't come across as overly confident or arrogant. Finally, close your letter with a complimentary close, as in this example. You'll see down at the bottom we have the complimentary close, which is the sincerely and then the name. If you're using the simplified format, you end simply with your signature with your name typed beneath the signature. You don't have to use a complimentary close. In terms of the content of your cover letters, sometimes it may seem like you are repeating what's in the resume in the cover letter. However, a cover letter is different from a resume. Cover letters are employer-centered. If your resume is about why you are amazing as an employee, your cover letter should talk about how you will be an amazing employee for this particular company or job. In your letter, when you talk about a particular skill or the knowledge that you have, the employer can begin to see a more complete picture of what skills and knowledge you have now in the present, how you develop the skills, how you have used the skills in the past, and how you will use the skills and knowledge in the future. How will it help you do the job that you are applying for, and how what you know will help the company. Of course, after you've written your resume and cover letter, don't forget to revise, edit, and proofread, just like any other piece of writing that we've discussed in this course. Remember that these documents will give potential employers the first impression that they will have of you and your abilities. If you are claiming strong communication skills but you have typos or poor grammar, how credible will you be? When you're getting ready to apply for jobs, whether it's part-time, seasonal, or your full-time career, make use of the career services in the Student Experience Center at both the downtown and north campuses. The advisors there will be able to help you to refine and edit your cover letters and resumes, as well as help you to prepare for interviews. So in this video, we've discussed how to create your resume and cover letter to be used for applying for jobs. Thank you for listening.